Hello students. In this lecture, we will be discussing about the characters and affinities of group Metatheria. The subclass Theria constitutes the modern mammals, and this group includes three infraclasses that are probably the ancestral Jurassic Pantotheria, marsupial Metatheria, and placental Eutheria, which are considered to be the most highly organized and advanced mammals. Metatheria and Eutheria are presumed to have arisen from some untracked branch of Jurassic Pantothere, and both of them diverged along their separate lines of evolution during early Cretaceous period. In the early part of the Upper Cretaceous period, the marsupials were more numerous than the Eutherians. That is why it is possibly during the Cretaceous that marsupials entered New Guinea, Australia, and adjacent islands, which were isolated from Asia, probably in the late Cretaceous period. Then they were able to survive free from competition with Eutherians, except for bats and later rodent invaders. So it is probable that the basic stock was arboreal, though many have become terrestrial in their habit. Three kangaroos have become secondarily arboreal from a fully terrestrial offshoot. Metatheria are widely distributed over many parts of the world as recently as the Miocene period, but now, at the present day, they are confined to the Australian region, except New Zealand to South America and a few species. They are confined to North America. Talking about the distribution, these animals are entirely continued to the Australian region with the exception of the American opossums. Talking about their habit and habitat, the marsupials are terrestrial and carnivorous animals. For example, the native cat, marsupial wolf. They are terrestrial and herbivorous kangaroos. They are arboreal and insectivorous, and they are arboreal phalangers or opossums, and they are also leading semi-arboreal life. They are herbivorous, insectivorous, carnivorous, omnivorous, diurnal or nocturnal, warm-blooded animals with air-breathing and viviparous pouched animals. The coming to the external features, the body will be covered with hair. The pinna or the external layer will be well developed, but it is altogether absent in case of moles. Tail will be generally long and prehensile, which will be helping the animal for the locomotion and balancing, and it is an important organ of balance in kangaroo, rats, and jumping mice. The mammary glands, they will be modified sebaceous glands, and they will be having elevated nipples. Females, they will be usually having a marsupial pouch or a marsupium, but it will be absent in Didelphys and Dasyuridae. Marsupium encloses the nipples, and the number of teeth will be bearing a relation to the number of young produced during the birth. The exoskeleton, it includes the ectodermal structures, the hairs that will be derived from the malpighian layer of epidermis and claws. Skin will be containing sweat glands, sebaceous glands, and scent glands. Talking about the body cavity, it will be having a typical muscular diaphragm that will be dividing the body cavity into thorax and abdominal cavity. The endoskeleton. Talking about the skull, it is tricondylic. The brain case will be small. The orbit and temporal fossa will be fully confluent, and it will be having no post-orbital bar. The bony palate will be incomplete posteriorly. Jugal bone will be reaching back to as participate in the formation of glenoid cavity, which will be helping in the articulation of lower jaw. The lacrimal bone extends outside the orbit. The tympanic bulla will be absent. Tympanic, periotic, and spermacles, they will be separate. The alisphenoid, it will be assisting in the formation of bola. In kangaroos, alisphenoid extends backward to join the greatly elongated paro-occipital process. The lower jaw will be consisting of a single dentary and will be having the inflected or interturned inner angle to which the large lateral pterygoid muscle is attached. You can see this is the figure, and this is the opossum, that is the skull and mandibular in lateral view, and this is the figure of the pelvic girdle which is showing the marsupial bone. As we have discussed the characteristics of the skull and the pelvic girdle, these are the specifications which are present in the Metatheria. Then comes the vertebral column. The odontoid process fuses early with the axis. The cervical ribs with their representative vertebrae, seventh cervical vertebra, is pierced by a foramen for the vertebral artery. Presence of 13 rib-bearing thoracic vertebrae as in placental mammals and 7 lumbars will be present as usual. The sacrum will be having 2 vertebrae, but it may be reinforced by caudal vertebrae. The caudal region will be short and the chevron bones are generally present in caudal vertebrae except in koalas and wombats. The girdles. The pectoral girdle or the coracoid will be reduced as in placental and scapula enlarged and provided with a spine. Clavicle will be present except in bandicoots. There will be no interclavicle bone, and in case of pelvic girdle, the epipubic bones will be projecting forward from the pubes in all. In Thylacinus, these are represented by small cartilage. The limbs, the forearms, the bones will be separate, generally adapted for pronation and supination. The thumb will be not opposable, but the two inner digits of the hand can frequently be opposed to the 3 outer in grasping. Hand with 5 clawed digits except in Cheropus and Carpus is without centrale. The hind limb, 5-digit fibula will be free, cannot be rotated on the tibia. In some of the cases, the first digit can be used as a thumb. Hallux is frequently absent, and second and third digits are, in most of the cases, they will be slender and united by the skin, a condition known as syndactyly. The digestive system. There is only one set of teeth which will be functional throughout life with the exception of a milk molar which is replaced by the last premolar incisors. Incisors, they are more numerous than in placentals, 3 premolars and 4 molars as against 4p and 3m in placentals. So the dentition in opossum will be incisor, canine, premolars and molars. The stomach will be usually simple, but in kangaroos it is much elongated and sacculated, and cacum is usually present, which will be absent in dressairs. Talking about the respiratory, circulatory, and excretory systems. These 3 systems, they are typically mammalian type. Respiration will be carried out by lungs. Heart is without fossa ovalis. Auricular-ventricular valves are membranous and they are attached to the papillary muscles by chordae tendineae. The nervous system. The brain will be relatively smaller, olfactory bulbs will be large, corpus callosum will be absent, anterior commissures will be connecting the 2 corpora striata, and it will be large. The cerebral hemisphere surface will be convoluted, cerebellum will be small and simple, and the cochlea of the inner ear will be spirally curved. Apart from the characteristics, we also have to discuss the affinities of marsupials. And these marsupials, they are going to show a mixture of primitive and advanced features. So, First of all, we will be discussing the affinities with Prototheria. So the first affinity will be the presence of cloaca, and the rectum and urinogenital sinus, they will be opening together to form a common cloaca. Presence of clavicles, epipubic bones in pelvic girdle and tympanic bone is ring-like. Tympanic bulla will be absent. Tympanic is not united with the periotic. Brain will be relatively smaller with large olfactory bulbs and anterior commissure. Corpus callosum will be absent. True allantoic placenta will be absent, and vesicula seminales, they are absent in case of males. Talking about the differences, the metatherians, they also possess some of the differences with that of prototherians. That is why they are placed as a separate group. So metatherians, they will be having a well-developed pinna, which is a characteristic that is all absent in prototherians. Metatherians, they will be having well-developed marsupium, vertebrae with epiphysis, ribs bicephalous, and no interclavicle bone. Coracoids will be reduced as in placentals. Teeth will be present in the adults, and cochlea will be spirally coiled, whereas it is partly coiled in case of Prototheria. The animals will be viviparous. They will be having uterine gestation. Testes will be present in the scrotal sac, whereas in Prototherians, the testes they are placed abdominal and glass penis is bifid. Apart from the affinities with Prototheria, the Metatherians they have affinities with Eutheria also. And the affinities are the presence of hair all over the body, presence of external ears known as pinna, sebaceous mammary glands with teeth, coracoids will be reduced, interclavicle will be absent, and ribs will be bicephalous. Teeth will be heterodont, having incisors, canines, premolars, and molars. Brain will be having four optic lobes. Cochlea again will be spirally coiled. Testes will be present in the scrotal sacs. The presence of erectile penis will be a condition found in males. In females, the uterus and vagina will be present in the oviduct. The animals are oviparous, ova microlecithal, uterine gestation, and placenta will be present. Apart from the affinities, we also will be having some of the differences with that of eutherians. So metatherians, they will be having a restricted range of distribution as they are only found in Australia and America. Then they will be having a presence of marsupial pouch. The number of incisors will be more in both the jaws. Tympanic bone will be absent. Alice phonoid will be assisting in forming the tympanic bulla. Phenotic and squamosal are going to be separate. Jugal extending back and participates in forming the glenoid cavity. They will be having well-developed epiphyseal bones. Ventral posterior border of jaw is inwardly increment. The corpus callosum will be absent. In paramils, true chorionic allantoic placenta will be present. A pair of uteri and vagina are present in females, and each vagina has a separate opening into the urinogenital canal. Ureters are going to pass between the genital ducts, whereas in eutherians they pass outside the genital ducts, and in males the penis is sometimes bifid and it is found behind the scrotal sac. Thank you all.